Hi, I'm Beth Pipe, and welcome to Successful Phone Calls and Conversations. This is top tips for support staff. So we're going to cover quite a lot in this session. It's aimed at, I work to support staff within law firms and other professional services organisations. So what I've tried to do is just put together some practical and pragmatic tips, things to think about when we're making or taking phone calls, and how we can just make, I would sometimes call this like the grief avoidance, ways, just little things that we can do that can make every little part of the phone experience just a little bit better for the client, and therefore easier for ourselves, because if they're happier, we're happier. All works out, everyone's happy. Right, so what are we going to cover in this workshop? Well, you're not going to face a phone like that, the old Bakelite phones, but what are we going to cover in this session? We are going to talk about how your voice, pace and language will shape the client perception of your firm. You're going to be you're basically the front door to the firm, sometimes literally because you're sat in reception, but certainly over the telephone. If your law firm might have a really nice website, you might have great marketing campaigns, you might have partners and senior team members going out and doing all sorts of business development things, and then a new client calls and you're the first person very often that they might speak to, or one of the first people that they speak to. So it's being very mindful of that and that experience for the client. And when we get to client care, and we talk on client care workshops, we just talk about how everybody can just add a little bit to the client experience, all the way through what we talk about as the client journey. And you're the first step of that journey, and we can all add something to make that journey. It's not just about the lawyers. We can all add something to make that journey a little bit better for the client. We like models when we're talking about learning and development, so we are going to talk about 5 Ps: prepare, present, probe, process and pause. So I'm going to elaborate on all of those. Some tips to build rapport with clients and how to show that you're listening. If it's not for you, if it's a phone call that needs to be transferred, what's the best way that you can do that? Things to watch for with challenging callers. We'll keep tabs on that. If we do have specific workshops on dealing with difficult callers, so I've just pulled in a little bit from there, but if you want more from there, go check out with MBL some of the dealing with difficult calls and difficult conversations. There's a lot more in there. We'll talk about a few tips to keep control of the call, and then finally a little bit of compliance etiquette. Compliance isn't just, again, for the lawyers. We've all got a role to play in compliance, and sometimes it's in our roles as support staff that we can trip up quite easily. And I'll show you a slide where some things to watch for on there, some things to be aware of.